The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Brecheen. Brought to you by Medine's Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Medine's. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lee Brecheen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report. Your host, Lee Brecheen. We do every Monday. We actually tape the show on Thursday, but every Monday we have a high school coach that, if you can't drive in, I mean, this is the greatest way to do it on the computer. And I'm really honored to say a longtime coach that I think have a lot of respect for out of New Orleans, Willie Brooks, the head coach currently at West Jefferson High School. Willie, thanks for joining us, man.
Always a pleasure, Lee. Always a pleasure.
You're in school, and we tell people all the time, especially these setups. But I like where you are, man. You got a clean wall. You don't have like trees or anything like that behind you. You know, you're borrowing a room at the school, and I think that's pretty cool the way we're doing it. So
yeah, head basketball coach Roosevelt Joyner, man. He's kind enough to let me use his office. I was in the gym and with my PE class. So yeah, I gave him a shout out for that, you know.
I want to talk about the history of West Jeff. I remember Gary James, and you do too. The youngsters listening, they don't know who Gary James is. Probably if you're under 40, probably I would think. Isn't that something saying youngsters under 40?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, a lot of those guys. Gary James his name is legendary around here on the West Bank, in particular. In some of the classic games, he coached with Henry Crosby, another Hall of Famer. And I always get the honor and the privilege of walking in the building every day, and I'm seeing his plaque on the wall as I go in my office, and it's very humbling.
Larry Medice, I think, played there too, right, Coach? Went to Oklahoma.
No, Larry Medice is actually my teammate at De La Salle.
De La Salle. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of who was the good DB that went to Ole Miss from West Jeff back in the 80s?
Herman Dyson. No, was it? I think that was.
I mean, I'll have Jace. Maybe.
I got no. Is it? I'm not sure. I was in college then.
Yeah, this is back in the mid '80s. All SEC from West Jefferson at Ole Miss. Jace will Google it up, and then recently, Greg Brooks left Arkansas to come back to LSU. What do you think of Greg Brooks? He's a heck of a DB.
Oh man, I love to see him around all the time. He's a very humble kid. Comes around, the kids really get excited when he comes around. Told him there's an open door policy here, for him, and I'm happy for him. I know when he was going through the process, I had coaches calling me, man, and I was just humble, that he's a good kid and got the opportunity to come home and play.
I just got the name, Coach, in my head, and I didn't cheat because Jace can vouch for me. Johnny Dixon.
Johnny Dixon, yeah.
Johnny Dixon.
Lee, hey, man, I know you're taping this, and I apologize, Johnny, if you see this, because Johnny came by last year when I first took the job, man. I talked to him, a very, very nice young man, and he spoke to the team. And, always want to see great guys come around.
Coach, there's been a lot of great ones and a lot of great coaches at the school over the years. And you do a great job. But, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I want to talk about, before we get to your team, a great story about Eddie Lacy, how you had Eddie as a freshman at Helen Cox back in the day. I remember that conversation me and you had, it seems like yesterday, about Eddie, because you were like, I got this running back. He's going to be great. He's only a freshman. I think he was in the office with you when we were talking over the phone. But we'll be right back with more. Coach Willie Brooks, the head coach of West Jefferson High School on the West Bank of New Orleans. We'll be right back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
Welcome back. We've got head coach Willie Brooks, West Jefferson High School. I want to thank Coach for taking the time at school doing this interview with me, man. I want to share a story because people remember Eddie Lacy at Alabama. And like most people, they don't know where he went to high school if you're not from New Orleans or not from Baton Rouge, but he went to Dutchtown. But Coach will explain before Dutchtown, he went where, Coach? For you.
He was Helen Cox Cougar. He played for us 2 years. Had the privilege and the honor to coach his older brother, Donovan Grayson, who wound up signing with LSU.
In the car.
In the car. He played for me. He was outside linebacker. So I, been knowing Eddie since he was knee-high to a puppy. And, when I was blessed and fortunate to become the head coach at Helen Cox, Eddie was one of my first guys that went got.
Yeah.
And, we had a great year with him, and then we had another great year, and then Katrina kind of hit. And when Katrina hit, it was devastating down here in the New Orleans area. And, it's painful for both of us to remember those things, but, we had to separate. But, before that happened, good friend of mine, Coach Burton Burns at, LSU. And we all know now he is Berkey. So, I told Berkey, I said, listen, I got a guy, he's in the 8th grade. He's going to do this. And so, Coach kept up with him the whole 9. And, the rest was history. But I wish he could have finished his career with me.
And I got a story I want to share with you, Coach. I remember Eddie's senior year at Dutchtown, and I was at the school around probably 3 in the afternoon, right before pregame meal. And I was with the coach at Dutchtown, and we were kind of hanging out. And I said, "Where's Eddie at? Can Eddie talk before the pads come on? I don't want to make Coach mad." And Eddie said, "Yeah, man, we're fine." I said, "Where you going?" He said, "Alabama." I said, "Man, we got a month to go and recruit." And I said, "Aren't the LSU coaches going to be at the game tonight? It's your last home game?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "But I'm done. I've been going to Alabama for a couple of years." And I said, I got you. He said, "Hey, man, we good?" I said, "Man, you're going to do great." And they had Kelvin York, as you can remember. They were a tag team, both 6'2", 220. But I remember that night, Coach, the whole LSU staff was at the game. Like Les Miles. Everybody, man, like 10 of them. And it just, it's when kids decided, he's decided. But they were out full force, talking to the principal, talking to everybody. But Eddie, did he retire fully? Is he done? Do you know?
Yeah. He's living in Arizona. He's retired now, and he wound up going to Green Bay the first year. It was the rookie of the year in the NFL, playing with Aaron Rodgers, and he had a good career. Good career at Bama. Won a couple of national championships, and made some pretty good money. In the NFL. So I'm just happy for him, his family. They good people, man, and they extended families of ours.
Yeah, I like Eddie. He ran so hard. He did not shy from a hit, huh, Coach?
We used to call him Jim Brown, man. I told him, hey, go back and look at who Jim Brown. He said, "Coach, I don't even know what it is." I said, "Man, go Google it." Because, it make us feel old. He didn't even know who Jim Brown was. He'll tell you that story. That's a later date.
Well, we're going to be easy on him because Jim Brown was the 50s, so we're going to be easy on him. We're going to take a break, come back, and then we're going to start talking about West Jefferson High School and Gretna and that whole West Bank area. Wow, man, just the talent over there. But Coach has got some sleepers still in this 222 class. And I want to give a shout out when we come back. Let Coach brag on some of these guys. He's got some good players that still haven't signed yet. Some have. And then we're going to talk about the current team. We'll be right back with more Willie Brooks, West Jefferson High School.
If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Medine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report. I hope you're enjoying the show. I am. I've got so many things I want to ask Coach Brooks for people to share with people because there's so much many years that Coach Willie Brooks has coached. Willie's been doing this for a few days, as they say. Tell everybody how many years is this for you now, Coach? I mean, this is a long time.
This is year 28 for me, and I started when I was 12.
I was
under Don Whitney when I was 12 years old. He pulled me out.
I was busting tables in restaurants and coaching. Riding with my dad to rec football games at 12. I don't remember 9, 8, 10, 11. And he had me playing at 7 when you were legal to play back then. I think 7.
Yeah.
I was the smallest guy. There wasn't a jersey to fit me. And they had to give me a special tiny jersey. And I couldn't play when I was 7. So I couldn't play till I was 9. But Coach, talk about your current seniors that are going to be graduating this year. It's a special group. I had a chance to talk to you before the storm came through Ida this past year, but I had a chance to talk to you at the Jamboree in LaPlace. And I saw you guys, man. You had some talented guys this year. You know, Josh and Barbie at running back, Ziggy Zalea, your big offensive tackle, 6'4", 270. Tobias Jefferson, another running back. Latour Jones, your big O lineman. Ronjay Watson, Avian Johnson, your quarterback. Boogie Childs, Alex send it to this, your corner safety. I mean, I'm going on. You had a big group this past year.
Yeah, Lee, I always thank those guys, man. In our second year, I've been here at West Jefferson, going on 2 years. And the biggest thing, and when people ask me about, the seniors, my heart really goes out to those guys because those guys missed 6 regular season games.
Yeah.
That's more than a third of a season.
Yeah.
In 2 years because, COVID, we had a storm, Ida, we was off for a month. I just think a lot of those kids, man, I was glad that we were able to get our seasons in, and I think that we lost in the playoffs against Destrehan, which is a good program Marcus Scott is running, and, that's a program we're inspired to be. But I remember thanking them after the playoff loss to Destrehan, just thanking you guys for getting West Jeff back on the map, because we've been down for a little bit. My first year here, we were able to bust through and get in the playoffs. But these seniors have been resilient, and they've been through so much. And my heart goes out to them because I think the better football is still ahead of them. Calvin Johnson, he's committed to go play at Pearl River Community College, which is real good for him. I just think that he, through this experience, and he can become a really good Division I, old school AA football player. Same with Boogie Childs. Boogie Childs is a running back. These guys just didn't get a chance to get full seasons in, Anthony Zalai, he's going to Arkansas Tech, which is a real steal for those guys, He was getting SWAC offers before the storm and stuff, and so we really –
Before I forget, Ziggy, tell everybody how good Ziggy is because, we're talking about legit 6'4", 270, feet, strong, good student. It's a D1 guy going.
Yeah, he's a D1 guy. I just thought, even when you saw him against East St. John, we set out a lot of guys in the East St. John game with the notion that we were going to open up the next week against Holy Cross. And, Lee, that was the last time we played football. And we didn't – that night when we discussed it, we were really looking at, bright season ahead of us. But, needless to say, he's going to be playing at Arkansas Tech this year. Ronjay Watson, he's going to be playing at Louisiana College. I think his, potentials are ahead of him also. So we got a plethora of guys who are coming back, with that group that you saw. So, I'm just thankful for those seniors that they went out winners and, hopefully brighter days are ahead of them in terms of their football careers.
And Watson can really run. He's a 4.5 all day. We're really impressed with him, Coach. And Boogie's a powerful guy. You had those 3 running backs, and you got another one coming back next year. But when we come back, I want to talk about you guys that are going to be seniors this coming year. You got another good group, and you got a good mix of young guys with those guys. And starts with Huey Cole when we come back, your quarterback. Not Huey the musician, but Huey Cole. Not Huey Lewis. Remember Huey Lewis?
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We got more with Coach Willie Brooks, and I thank him for taking the time while he's teaching. He's borrowing a classroom right now at West Jefferson. We'll appreciate him and we'll be right back with Coach Willie Brooks.
Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads and Care Tire Company located in Central. The number to call is 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's Treads and Care Tire Company.
Welcome back. I'm Lee Brecheen. Our show is the Sports Scouting Report. I hope you're enjoying the show. Willie Brooks, great coach, one of my favorite coaches in the state at West Jefferson High School, head coach, was a longtime head coach at Helen Cox. And I got to mention his alma mater, De La Salle. I mean, where he played and coached before he went back to West Jeff. Tell everybody about your school, your alma mater. I mean, a great school.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I had great memories. Yeah, I got great memories there, man. I was coached by Coach Joe Zimmerman, who was a legend, you know, a De La Salle / Shaw legend. Don Whitney, that's why, you know, met Coach Whitney. He had the legendary Coach Whitney at Carr, you know, and he gave me my first start. And I had some great memories at De La Salle. You know, you mentioned one of my teammates, Larry Medice, who played at Oklahoma. You know, Ray Ronquilla, Dwayne Bryant. Man, I mean, we had some really good times at De La Salle, and I think, you know, those times right there really helped me and shaped me to become the coach that I want to be.
The school of the late Marquise Hill, too. And
yes,
Marquise Hill.
Yes, you got a plethora of guys.
Derek Pope, that's an old name. Remember Derek Pope?
Oh, yeah. Derek Pope was my teammate. My teammate. Yeah.
You had a heck of a team, Coach.
Yeah. Derek was my teammate. Derek used to be a guy who loves the weight room, man. He's a weight room junkie, you know.
I remember he was bowed up for that time period. He was probably 225 back then.
Yes.
But your current team, Coach, coming up, you return a good nucleus of guys. You got some good-looking juniors, good-looking junior group, a good-looking quarterback. I saw him warming up in the scrimmage last year. I know he didn't play a lot in that scrimmage, but, man, 6'4", 6'3", big guy, can move. Huey Cole, and is only a sophomore. What do you think of Huey?
I think skies could be the limits for Huey. You know, he like you say, when he's getting off the bus, he looks the part, you know. Huey right now is about 6'4", he's about 210. I mean, he looks real good. You know, just working on some of his throws, mechanics with receivers, so on and so forth. But I'm really, really, you know, optimistic about our skill on offense coming back. We have a 6'4" receiver, Sean Nicholas. He's also a sophomore. Sean is about 195.
You introduced me to him before in pregame.
Yeah.
Like, Coach, he's a senior, right? And he said, no, Lee.
No, he's a sophomore.
Now. Whoa.
You know, yeah, those guys, I mean, Taheem Merrill, he's a defensive back. We actually lost Taheem. He's back now. We lost him right after the storm to Arkansas, and he's back now. Taheem he's a 2022 guy. Excuse me, 2023 guy. He's an upcoming senior. He's one of the few guys we got coming back, but he's been invited to a couple of junior days right now, and we're looking for big things from him this year.
Coach, you mentioned Taheem to me the other day. You really love this kid a lot. You told me if he would have played last year, if the hurricane wouldn't have hit last year, and I mean, you're talking about a 70, 80 tackle DB, few interceptions, not just that, but leadership. You said he's
there's no question. I mean, we played De La Salle the week before the storm, and he had a tremendous game against De La Salle. You know, he had a boatload of tackles. He had 2 interceptions, and we definitely was real high on him. You know, when you playing a caliber of a team like a De La Salle right now, because those guys they're pretty stacked. You know, I mean, he held more than held his own, and we were looking for great things from him right before the storm.
I want to mention another big-time player for you coming back, Darius Ard, O-lineman. I know you're high on him, 6'3", 300.
Yeah, Darius is an O-lineman. I mean, last year he played a little bit both, but this year he's going to be mainly an offensive lineman. Yeah, I tease you all the time. I think I introduced you to him. He looks like Marlon Favorite, you know. Right. I introduced Marlon to him. Marlon started laughing. He's like, you said, Coach, man. I said, Marlon, you didn't know you had a brother, huh? They look just alike, you know. Even Marlon Favorite had to say, yeah, Coach, we do look alike.
Another great alum of West Jeff, nose guard LSU, Marlon, who's done a great job in broadcasting, huh, Coach?
Oh yes, man. Marlon always comes by open door policy for all of the former alumni. Alfred Payton is one of them. He's a CFL Hall of Fame guy. He's a West Jeff guy. Those guys, Lee, I always see them in the community, man. I always have an open door policy for those guys to come back, reach back to the kids and let them know that, these avenues can be made through, West Jeff.
Another kid that I know you like a lot, he's a senior leader for you, Travis Tolliver, linebacker, 6', 225. You got to have them big linebackers in your league. You got to have those guys.
Oh, there's no question. Week 1 we opened up against St. Paul. So those guys, St. Paul's going to be a tough opponent. I got him and another linebacker by the name of Cedric Williams. Cedric is about 6'3", about 235. So we're going to need to play good on defense this year. I think last year a little bit, through the storm, we kind of coaching on a run and so on and so forth, but I think this year, we want to settle down and get our defense back to where it needs to be.
And you got a guy named Devon Bocage, who's a pretty good D tackle, DN. And Coach, you're talking about Cedric. He's a good-looking kid. I mean, all of 6'3". I saw him play in that jamboree. That kid could be as good as he wants to be, huh, Coach?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think defensive line, we have 3 guys on the defensive line that will return this year. Bocage is one of them. The other one is Charles, Nehemiah Charles. It's Boogie's little brother. Yeah, and Boogie's little brother. He's about 6'2". He's about 245. He's a little brother.
Isn't that crazy? Because Boogie's 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah. When you see him, Nehemiah, and his nickname around school is Baby Charles.
Baby
Charles.
Charles.
He's the youngest of the group, and I tell you what, he's a load to deal with. So we put him at the 5 tech outside, and he'll go inside sometime at a shade because I think eventually he'll grow inside to be a 3 tech.
I call him man-child. He looks like a man-child player, Coach. What do you think, Coach, before we let you go, what do you think of the district this coming year? It's always a war every week, but what do you think of some of the teams on the schedule this year for West Jeff, for your team? And like I said, it doesn't get easy. Start with St. Paul's, and then, I mean, just name anybody on the West Bank and then New Orleans and St. Tammany, or even if you go on to Houma and play somebody.
Well, our district has always been a two-man race in our district right now. Last year, Chalmette bust through the door and beat John Ehret, and then we had Chalmette beat and lost to them 22-21 on an extra point. And so I expect our district to be very competitive. I mean, Coach Rogers is on my staff at Helen Cox. We're close friends, and the John Ehret West Jeff rivalry was actually on television last year for the first time in however many years, so I think their rivalry is on its way back, and that's one of our goals to have it back. The last 2 years ain't turned out like we wanted it to turn out, but, coming after hurricane and storm. So we kind of moved the game back a little bit this year because a lot of alumni like to see, West Jeff and Ehret has never played week 1 in the district. So let's kind of move it back. So we anticipate a big game against those guys again this year. Chalmette is going to be a week 10 game. That's going to be big. And then pre-district, like you said before, Lee, we got St. Paul's, and then the return of the legendary coach on the West Bank, Coach Hank Tierney, week 5.
Sure.
It's going to be a war against, West Jeff and Shaw over here at Horse Memphis.
Coach, explain this to people watching that are not from the West Bank, not from New Orleans, but in my 30 years of going to the West Bank and going statewide, and I ran some numbers and Googled it and read it, and just per capita, the West Bank has more NFL players than any population. Like, they're third in the country for one area, not a state. Now, the state, I think Louisiana is top 3 per capita with NFL players. But the West Bank, I mean, you talked about it. You got backup DBs that play 1 year on the West Bank. And the West Bank supplies players for teams in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, what makes the West Bank so good in sports, not just football, but track, basketball, everything. I mean, it's really the kingpin of the talent in the state of Louisiana.
I think this is community involvement. I mean, Algiers, you got Algiers community. I mean, your Nord, you got Jefferson Parish Recreation on the West Bank. You got neighborhoods like Woodmere, Oakdale. A lot of community-based types. We're in the city. We're 5 minutes away from downtown, but it feels like a rural area. And I just think everybody in the community is very passionate, particularly about football. I mean, you go to the parks, they just, the water, like Coach Hank said when he was on the North Show, he said, certain kids he would always refer them to West Bank kids,
Right.
And it's just the tough and the grit that we have here on the West Bank. And sometimes I think as coaches, we learn to work with less. I mean, we don't, in Texas, you got the great facilities and all those things. And, here in Louisiana, in certain spots, you don't have those things. But, you never hear coaches complain about anything. I mean, Rice is doing a great job at Carr. Landry Walker's been super. West Jeff is, always been great. Higgins, when Wayne Meyer was there, was winning. Billy Nord at Eric and Hank at Shaw. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Don Watney, the legend.
Don Watney, the legend. Yeah, we learned from. So I mean, yeah, this is West Bank, and then a lot of kids on the West Bank leave and go play on the East Bank because you look at St. Augustine's and Brother Martin's and the De La Salles. They loaded with West Bank kids too.
Jesuit.
Jesuit.
And look, I'm just going to throw some names out, West Bank guys. Cordell Stewart.
Yep.
Skylar Green, Reggie Wayne. I mean, come on, I mean, we can go on and on and on. Edna Carr's had 150 national recruits in 10 years. Job they're doing. I mean, it's just it's insane the amount of talent that comes out of there. And when it was O.P. Walker, remember Frank Wilson had 4 signed with LSU in 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that was. One went in the first round, Craig Davis, the receiver from the West Bank. And he wasn't even the most highly recruited one out of the 4.
Went to San Diego. Yeah, you're right. Chargers.
Dominique Cooper was in that group. Johnson, the greatest DB I've ever seen. That didn't play college ball, that safety. But, man, just the talent. And several went to Ole Miss from the West Bank and Alabama. And like I said, your school with Gary James, Marlon Favorite. Man, I'm ready for football, Coach. I'm ready for the kickoff, man. I'm ready for Jamboree time. You ready for Jamboree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to take it 1 week at a time right now.
And here's what I'm doing. Every night I go to bed, and I'm serious about this. I pray every night we don't have a storm for many years.
Yeah.
Not just this year, but many years. I mean, 2 years in a row, 3 out of 5 years. I mean, you were talking about, I mean, teams have lost 10 to 12 games in 2 years.
Yeah.
Lake Charles, Alexandria area got hit real hard last year, in Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Houma, Lafourche. And prayers, by the way, while we're talking about it, to that young man from Chalmette that died, in the storm the other day. Yeah. And all the people that died, that tornado that hit New Orleans in that area, man. We prayers from our family, just so the people watching this show today from New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The prayers go out, Lee. I just hope, like you say, we pray for a 2022 regular football season, and hopefully God spares.
That's right, man. And look, thank you for what you do and everything you do. You're one of the reasons why these kids have a chance, man. You stay on them in a good way. You're a father figure to these kids. I always appreciate the help you give us. When we call you, man, you always take the time to help us with the magazine over the years. 26 years, man. I can't believe I've been talking to you that long.
Well, hey, man, let's keep it going, Lee, man. I appreciate everything you do for high school football too, man. Truly a blessing.
Thank you, Willie. And don't go anywhere, but we're going to end the show. If you see this show and you have a friend that loves football and any retired guys that love football that can hang out and watch shows all day long, or parents, you can catch us on YouTube, or you can go to Podbean, or you can go to our Twitter, LA Football Mag, or you can follow me on Twitter, Lee Brecheen, or Jace Lejeune with his Twitter. So we appreciate Coach, and we're going to have another show this Wednesday coming up, and I appreciate everybody. We'll be back soon.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life. Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.